If you like stories about unfaithful husbands, this channel is for you. Give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I found her coffee mug on my kitchen counter on a Tuesday morning. Not a mug from our cabinet. A travel mug. Stainless steel with a yoga studio logo I didn't recognize. It sat there next to the coffee maker, still warm when I touched it, a faint lipstick stain on the rim. Coral pink. I don't wear coral pink. My husband Daniel had already left for work, or so I thought. I stood there in my bathrobe, my hand trembling slightly as I held that mug, and something inside me went very quiet. Not the kind of quiet that comes before a storm, the kind that comes when you already know the storm has passed, and you're just now seeing the damage. I didn't cry. I didn't throw the mug. I simply rinsed it out, dried it carefully, and placed it in the cabinet with our other mugs. Then I made myself breakfast and ate it slowly, tasting nothing. We'd been married for 11 years. Daniel was a real estate developer. I was a freelance graphic designer who worked from home. We lived in a nice suburban neighborhood outside Seattle. We didn't have children. We'd tried for years until we just stopped talking about it. The silence around that empty nursery upstairs had become so normal, I barely noticed it anymore. I noticed everything now. The way Daniel had been coming home later. The new cologne. The gym membership he suddenly cared about. The phone he kept face down on every surface. These weren't revelations. They were confirmations. The mug was just the punctuation mark on a sentence I'd been reading for months. That evening, Daniel came home with Thai takeout and a practiced smile. We ate dinner, watching a home renovation show neither of us cared about. He checked his phone 6 times during the meal. Each time, his expression flickered into something softer. Then the mask slipped back on. "How was your day?" he asked automatically, his attention already drifting. "Quiet," I said. "Found an interesting mug in the kitchen this morning, though. Not one of ours." His hand froze halfway to his mouth, just for a heartbeat. Then he recovered. "Probably left over from that dinner party last month. We hadn't had a dinner party in 6 months." "Probably," I agreed. That night, lying next to my husband who fell asleep within minutes, I stared at the ceiling and felt something crystallize inside me. I wasn't going to confront him. Not yet. I was going to watch. I was going to learn. And when I finally moved, it would be with precision. The next morning, I hired a private investigator. His name was Marcus Webb, and he came recommended through a discreet Google search and a forum for women like me. Women who knew, but needed proof. His office was in a strip mall between a dry cleaner and a tax preparation service. Nothing about Marcus was memorable, which I suppose made him good at his job. Average height, average build, the kind of face you'd forget 5 minutes after meeting him. "I need to know everything," I told him, sliding an envelope with $2,000 in cash across his desk. "Where he goes, who she is, how long it's been going on. All of it." Marcus didn't judge. He simply nodded, took notes, and asked for Daniel's schedule, car description, and any other relevant details. I provided everything with a calmness that surprised even me. "Most women cry during this conversation," Marcus observed. "I'm not most women," I replied. While Marcus worked, I began my own investigation at home. I installed a keystroke logger on Daniel's home computer, a simple program disguised as a system update. I checked our phone records online and found a number he'd been calling and texting constantly. I called it once from a burner phone I'd bought at a convenience store. A woman's voice answered, young and bright. "Hello?" I hung up without speaking. Daniel became an open book once I knew what to look for. He thought he was being careful, but people having affairs are predictably careless in small ways. He deleted messages, but forgot about his cloud backup. He paid for hotels in cash, but kept the receipts. He wore his wedding ring to work, but took it off before meeting her. I could tell by the faint tan line that appeared and disappeared. 3 days later, Marcus called with his preliminary report. Her name was Vanessa Chen, 29 years old, marketing consultant. She'd met Daniel 6 months ago at a real estate conference in Portland. They'd been seeing each other 2 to 3 times per week, usually at the Hotel Monarch downtown. She didn't know he was married, or so her social media suggested. Her Instagram was public, filled with inspirational quotes about self-love and photos of green smoothies. "There's something else," Marcus said, his voice careful. "He's been bringing her to the house." My hand tightened on the phone. "What?" 3 times in the past month, always during the day when you've been out running errands or at client meetings. I have time-stamped photos. He emailed them to me. There she was, walking into my home like she belonged there. Long dark hair, slim build, expensive yoga clothes. In one photo, she was laughing at something Daniel said on my front porch. In another, she was leaving with a coffee mug in her hand, the same coral pink lipstick stain. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed next to Daniel, listening to him breathe, and felt something cold and clear settle into my bones. Not rage, not grief, strategy. By morning, I had a plan. The first step was information. I needed to know everything about Vanessa Chen, not just the surface details Marcus had provided, but the deeper structure of her life, where she worked, who her friends were, what mattered to her. I created a fake Instagram account and started following her. Within hours, I knew her favorite coffee shop, her yoga studio, and the name of her best friend, who commented on every post with excessive enthusiasm. Vanessa posted constantly. Pictures of her morning smoothies, sunset runs along the waterfront, motivational quotes overlaid on stock photos of beaches. She had 23,000 followers and talked endlessly about authentic living and finding your truth. The irony wasn't lost on me. Step 2 was positioning. I needed Daniel to make a mistake. A big one, public and undeniable. I needed him to bring his two worlds together in a way he couldn't explain away, and I needed it all documented. I started leaving the house more predictably. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m., I told Daniel I had client meetings downtown. I made a show of gathering my laptop and portfolio, kissing him goodbye, driving away. What I actually did was park 2 blocks away and wait, watching our house from a coffee shop window. The first Thursday, nothing happened. The second Tuesday, Daniel's car stayed in the garage. But the third Thursday, right on schedule, a silver Lexus pulled into our driveway at 2:15. Vanessa emerged wearing the kind of casual outfit that cost more than most people's monthly rent. She walked to my front door like she'd done it 100 times. Daniel opened it before she could knock, and the way he smiled at her, bright, unguarded, real, made something crack inside my chest. But I didn't move. I sat in that coffee shop, watching through my phone's camera app connected to the security system I'd upgraded the week before, and I documented everything. Timestamps, photos, video clips. I saved it all to 3 separate cloud accounts. They stayed for 2 hours. When she left, she was wearing one of my cardigans. That night, Daniel came home whistling. Actually whistling. "Good day?" I asked. "Great day. Closed the Riverside deal finally." He kissed my forehead absently, already moving toward the shower. "That's wonderful," I said to his retreating back. "We should celebrate." "Sure, babe. Whatever you want." What I wanted was starting to take shape. Not revenge. Revenge was messy and emotional. I wanted something cleaner. I wanted consequences. I wanted both of them to understand exactly what they'd done, and I wanted them to carry that understanding for the rest of their lives. But first, I needed the perfect stage. I spent the next week preparing what I privately called the event. It required precision, timing, and an understanding of human nature that I'd apparently developed through years of being invisible. First, I convinced Daniel we should host a party. Our anniversary was coming up, 11 years, and I suggested we celebrate with friends and colleagues. Daniel looked uncomfortable, but couldn't find a reason to refuse without seeming suspicious. "Just something casual," I said. "Backyard barbecue. Your work people, some of my clients, the neighbors. It's been too long since we've entertained." He agreed reluctantly, probably calculating how to keep Vanessa away that day. I sent out invitations. 30 people, carefully selected. Daniel's business partners and their wives, his parents who lived an hour away, my own parents, neighbors we'd known for years, and several of my design clients who happened to work in marketing, Vanessa's industry. Then I did something Daniel would never expect. I found Vanessa's work email through her company website and sent her a professional invitation, written as though I were a potential client who'd heard of her through mutual connections. Would she be interested in attending a networking event? Casual, outdoor, great opportunity to meet local business owners? She responded within an hour, enthusiastic, grateful for the opportunity. She'd love to attend. I read her email 3 times, marveling at how easy it was, how completely unaware she was that the world was about to shift under her feet. The party was scheduled for Saturday, 2 weeks away. In that time, I prepared meticulously. I hired a caterer, a nice touch that made Daniel think I was really investing in celebrating us. I cleaned the house until it gleamed. I bought a new dress, got my hair done, had my nails manicured. I looked like a woman celebrating her marriage. I felt like a woman preparing for a funeral. 3 days before the party, I did something that made my hands shake. I compiled everything. Every photo Marcus had taken, every credit card statement, every hotel receipt, every timestamp from our security cameras showing Vanessa entering my home. I organized it into a beautiful digital presentation, professionally designed using all my graphic design skills. Clean fonts, chronological order, undeniable evidence. I saved it to a USB drive and tested it on our backyard's projector system, the one Daniel had installed last summer for outdoor movie nights we'd never actually hosted. It worked perfectly. Saturday arrived with perfect weather. 75 degrees, clear skies, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of the roses I'd planted years ago along the back fence. The caterers arrived at noon to set up. By 2 p.m., guests started trickling in. I played the part beautifully. Gracious hostess, loving wife, happy woman. I wore a sundress in a soft blue that Daniel once said made my eyes look beautiful, back when he still noticed things like that. I smiled until my face ached. I made small talk. I refreshed drinks and offered appetizers and laughed at jokes that weren't funny. Daniel's parents arrived with a gift, a crystal vase that probably cost too much. My own parents brought wine and stories about their recent cruise. The neighbors came with their usual gossip. Daniel's business partners talked about market trends and investment opportunities. And at 3:30 p.m., exactly on schedule, Vanessa Chen walked into my backyard. She looked stunning, of course. A white linen dress that showed off her yoga-sculpted figure. Her hair fell in perfect waves. She carried a hostess gift, a bottle of expensive rosé, and her smile was warm and genuine as I greeted her at the gate. "You must be Jennifer," she said, extending her hand. "Thank you so much for inviting me. Your home is absolutely beautiful." "Thank you," I replied, shaking her hand. Her grip was firm and confident. "I'm so glad you could make it. Please come in. Let me introduce you around." I watched her eyes scan the crowd, looking for potential business connections. They landed on Daniel, who stood near the grill with 2 of his business partners, and I saw the exact moment recognition hit her. Her smile froze. Color drained from her face. She turned to me, and something like panic flickered in her eyes. "Is that—" she started, but I was already guiding her forward, my hand light but firm on her elbow. "Daniel," I called out, my voice bright and carrying. "Come meet Vanessa Chen. She's a marketing consultant I thought you might want to connect with." Daniel turned, spatula in hand, and I watched his entire world collapse in real time. His face went white. The spatula clattered onto the stone patio. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Everyone was watching now. The conversation had died down. 30 sets of eyes watched my husband stare at a beautiful young woman like he'd seen a ghost. "Daniel?" his mother said uncertainly. "Are you all right?" He couldn't finish the sentence. Vanessa had started backing toward the gate, but I moved to block her path, still smiling. "Actually," I said, raising my voice so everyone could hear clearly, "before anyone leaves, I've prepared a little presentation. Anniversary surprise." I picked up the remote control I'd hidden under a serving tray. "I've put together something special," I continued, as the projector hummed to life. "A retrospective of our marriage. Daniel, honey, this is for you." The first image appeared on the white screen I'd hung on the back fence. It was a wedding photo. Daniel and me, young and hopeful, cutting our cake. For a moment, everyone smiled, thinking this was exactly what I'd promised. A sweet anniversary tribute. Then the second image appeared. A photo of Daniel and Vanessa kissing in the parking lot of the Hotel Monarch. Timestamp clearly visible. 3 weeks ago. 2:15 p.m. The gasps came in waves. "Jennifer, what are you doing?" Daniel's voice cracked. "Celebrating our marriage," I said calmly, clicking to the next image. "This is from 2 months ago. Same hotel, different angle." Click. Daniel and Vanessa holding hands walking into a restaurant. Click. A credit card statement. Highlighted charges circled in red. Click. Security camera footage of Vanessa walking into our house. Time-stamped during hours Daniel knew I'd be gone. Click. Her leaving, wearing my cardigan. The backyard had gone completely silent, except for the soft hum of the projector. Daniel's mother had her hand over her mouth. My own mother stood frozen, wine glass suspended. The neighbors stared with the kind of horrified fascination reserved for car accidents. Vanessa was crying now, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't know," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "He told me he was divorced. He said—" "He lied," I interrupted, my voice still calm, still controlled. "To both of us, apparently." Click. More photos. hotel receipts, text message screenshots I'd recovered from the cloud backup. Nothing explicit. I'd carefully curated everything to be damning but not vulgar. This wasn't about shocking anyone. It was about truth. Daniel finally found his voice. "Jennifer, please, can we talk about this privately?" "We had 11 years to talk privately," I said. "You chose not to. Instead, you brought your mistress into our home, into my home. You let her drink from my mugs, wear my clothes, sleep in my bed. So no, Daniel, we're done talking privately." His business partner stepped forward. "Daniel, is this true?" Daniel couldn't answer. His silence was confirmation enough. I clicked to the final slide. It was simply text, white letters on a black background. Marriage ended. Today, dignity reclaimed. Today, truth revealed. Today, I turned off the projector and set down the remote. Every eye was on me, but I felt strangely calm. Light even. Like I'd been carrying a weight I hadn't realized was there until it was gone. "The caterers are paid through 5 p.m., I announced to the stunned crowd. "Please, enjoy the food and drinks. Daniel and Vanessa, you should probably leave. Together or separately, I don't care anymore." Daniel's father was the first to move. He walked up to his son and said something too quiet for me to hear, but the look on his face said everything. Disappointment. Shame. Daniel crumpled under that gaze. Vanessa was already halfway to the gate, sobbing. She didn't look back. The party didn't exactly continue, but it didn't immediately disperse either. Shock has a way of paralyzing people. Daniel stood frozen near the grill for what felt like an eternity before his father took his arm and led him into the house. I didn't follow. I stayed in my backyard, among my guests, and accepted their reactions with grace. My mother hugged me tightly, whispering, "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I needed to handle it my way," I replied. Daniel's mother approached me with tears in her eyes. "Jennifer, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. We raised him better than this." "I know you did," I said, and I meant it. "This isn't your fault." The neighbors didn't quite know what to do. Some left quickly, probably eager to spread the gossip. Others lingered, offering support in awkward, uncomfortable ways. A few of Daniel's business associates approached me privately. One handed me his lawyer's business card. "You'll need a good divorce attorney," he said. "This one's a friend. He'll treat you right." The marketing colleagues I'd invited, Vanessa's potential networking connections, left together, shaking their heads. I heard one of them say, "Her career in the city is finished. Word spreads fast in our industry." I hadn't intended to destroy Vanessa professionally, but I couldn't pretend I felt bad about it either. She'd been careless with other people's lives. Consequences follow carelessness. By 5 p.m., everyone had left except my parents. They helped me clean up in silence. My father kept looking at me like he'd never really seen me before. "You planned all of this," he finally said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, you're stronger than I thought. I'm exactly as strong as I needed to be." Daniel came back outside eventually. His father had left. He stood at the patio door, looking small and defeated in a way I'd never seen before. Part of me, a very small part, felt something like pity. The rest of me felt nothing at all. "Can we talk?" he asked. My parents tensed, but I nodded. They retreated inside, leaving us alone in the gathering dusk. "I don't know what to say," Daniel began. "Then don't say anything. I'm sorry. I know that's not enough, but I'm sorry. It just happened. I never meant to hurt you. People who don't mean to hurt others don't bring their mistresses into their wives' homes," I said quietly. "You didn't accidentally betray me, Daniel. You chose it. Repeatedly. For 6 months. I was going to end it." "No, you weren't." He couldn't argue. We both knew the truth. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now you pack a bag and leave. Tonight. I've already contacted a lawyer. You'll be hearing from them Monday morning." "Jennifer, please. Can't we try to work this out? Counseling or—" "No," I interrupted. "I'm done. I was done the moment I found that coffee mug. Everything since then was just me taking back control of my own story." He left an hour later with a suitcase and his laptop. He didn't ask where he should go. I didn't care. The story spread faster than I'd anticipated. By Sunday morning, my phone was flooded with messages. Friends I hadn't heard from in years reaching out with support. Acquaintances asking if I was okay. A few bold souls asking for details I didn't provide. Daniel's reputation in the local real estate community took an immediate hit. 2 of his business partners called me separately to express their disgust with his behavior. One of them mentioned that they were reconsidering their partnership. Professional consequences, it seemed, were landing squarely where they belonged. Vanessa's social media went dark. Her Instagram, once a constant stream of positivity and posed photos, went private. Her LinkedIn profile disappeared. I checked once, just to see, and felt a strange emptiness. I'd wanted accountability, not destruction. But I also understood that actions have weight, and some weights are too heavy to carry in public view. Marcus called Monday morning. "I saw the news," he said. News. I hadn't realized it had become news, but apparently someone at the party had connections to a local blogger who wrote about social events. The story had been picked up, anonymized but recognizable. Local real estate developer's affair exposed at anniversary party. "How are you holding up?" Marcus asked. "I'm fine," I said, and surprisingly, I meant it. "You did something most people don't have the courage to do. You took control. I just wanted the truth out there. The truth is out there now. What you do with that is up to you." My lawyer, Richard Chen, no relation to Vanessa, thankfully, was efficient and sympathetic. He filed for divorce immediately, citing adultery with evidence that made the case airtight. Daniel's lawyer contacted him within days, and I could tell from Richard's satisfied tone that they knew fighting would be futile. "He's willing to settle," Richard told me Friday afternoon. "The house is yours. He'll take his business assets. You'll keep your design business and retirement accounts. He's proposing a clean split with no spousal support either direction. He wants this over quickly," I observed. "He wants to minimize damage. Smart of him, honestly. The longer this drags out, the worse he looks." I accepted the terms. Not because I wanted to make things easy for Daniel, but because I wanted him out of my life completely. Clean breaks heal better than ragged ones. The most unexpected ripple came from Vanessa. 2 weeks after the party, I received a handwritten letter in the mail. The handwriting was shaky, uncertain. "Dear Jennifer," it began. "I know you have no reason to listen to anything I have to say, and I'm not writing this to make excuses. I just wanted you to know that I really didn't know Daniel was married. He showed me an apartment he said was his. He told me he was divorced 2 years ago. He even showed me what I thought were divorce papers." The letter continued for 2 pages. She explained how they'd met, how he'd pursued her, how convincing he'd been. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She just wanted me to know that she'd been lied to as well. "What you did at that party destroyed me professionally and socially," she wrote near the end. "I won't pretend I didn't deserve some consequences, but I hope you can believe that I never wanted to hurt anyone. I was stupid and careless, and I'm paying for that now. I've learned a terrible lesson about trusting the wrong people. I hope someday you find peace. You deserve so much better than what he gave you." I read the letter 3 times and then put it in a drawer. I believed her, mostly. Daniel was a convincing liar when he wanted to be, but belief didn't equal absolution. She'd been careless with my life, even if unintentionally. Some mistakes don't get undone by apologies. The divorce was finalized in 60 days. Washington state's laws made it efficient when both parties agreed to terms. Daniel moved to an apartment downtown, closer to his office. We didn't speak except through lawyers. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he'd become something of a pariah in our social circle. Invitations dried up. People chose sides, and most chose mine. I didn't take pleasure in his isolation, but I didn't feel guilty about it either. He'd built his own prison. The house felt different without him. Emptier, yes, but also cleaner somehow. I walked through rooms that had held so much silent suffering, and felt like I was meeting them for the first time. I repainted the bedroom. I donated Daniel's remaining belongings to charity. I turned his locked office into a proper studio for my design work, with better lighting and a new desk. Slowly, I rebuilt myself. My business improved. Word of mouth brought new clients, some out of sympathy, I'm sure, but others because they genuinely appreciated my work. I raised my rates and hired an assistant. I joined a gym, not to transform my body, but to occupy my time with something that made me feel strong. I dated no one. The thought of trusting someone new felt exhausting. Maybe someday, but not now. Now was for me. 6 months after the divorce, I ran into Vanessa at a coffee shop downtown. We both froze. She looked different, thinner, more tired, less polished. Her yoga glow had dimmed. "Jennifer," she said quietly. "Vanessa." We stood there awkwardly, 2 women connected by pain we'd both rather forget. "I'm leaving Seattle," she said finally. "Fresh start. Portland maybe, or San Francisco. Somewhere my name doesn't precede me. I hope you find what you're looking for," I said, and I meant it. "I'm sorry," she said. "I know I've said it before, but I'm sorry. For all of it. I know. She left, and I watched her go, feeling nothing but a distant sadness for who we'd both been 6 months ago. Different people, damaged people, changed people. Daniel, I heard, was seeing someone new, a woman from his gym. I didn't care enough to learn more. He was someone else's problem now, someone else's risk to take. I hoped she was smarter than I'd been. I hoped she asked questions before believing answers. The neighborhood gradually stopped whispering. New scandals replaced mine. Life moved on, as it always does, with or without our permission. But I had changed in ways I was still discovering. I was harder now, but not bitter. Careful, but not closed. I'd learned that silence isn't peace. It's just fear wearing a comfortable mask. I'd learned that exposing truth doesn't make you cruel. It makes you honest. And I'd learned that sometimes the only way to teach someone a lesson is to show them who they really are, reflected in the consequences of their own choices. A year after the party, I hosted another gathering in my backyard. Smaller this time. Intimate. Just my parents, my closest friends, and a few clients who'd become friends. We celebrated nothing in particular. Just summer. Just life. Just survival. The garden looked beautiful. I'd spent months cultivating it, turning pain into something that grew. Someone asked me carefully how I was doing. "I'm good," I said. And for the first time in longer than I could remember, it was completely true. "Do you regret it?" another friend asked. "The way you did it?" I considered the question honestly. Did I regret publicly humiliating Daniel? Did I regret the collateral damage to Vanessa? Did I regret choosing exposure over quiet dignity? No, I said finally. I regret staying silent as long as I did. I regret making myself small in a marriage that was already suffocating me. But exposing the truth? That's the first thing I did in years that I don't regret at all. People had opinions about what I'd done. Some thought I was brave. Others thought I was cruel. Some believed I should have handled it privately. Others celebrated the public reckoning. But here's what I learned. Other people's opinions of your choices only matter if you give them permission to matter. I'd spent 11 years giving Daniel permission to define my reality. I'd given him my trust, my time, my body, my home. He'd taken all of it and asked a stranger to share it. The party wasn't revenge. It was reclamation. It was me saying, out loud and in front of witnesses, "This is my truth, and I'm not carrying your lies anymore." The lesson I taught Daniel and Vanessa wasn't about punishment. It was about consequences. They both learned that betrayal has a price, that lies have weight, that actions echo in ways you can't control once truth enters the room. But the bigger lesson, the one that mattered most, was the one I taught myself. I learned that I'm capable of more than I thought. More strength, more clarity, more survival. I learned that you can be devastated and strategic at the same time. I learned that choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. I learned that justice doesn't always look like reconciliation. Sometimes it looks like a projector screen in a backyard. Sometimes it looks like walking away with your head high while someone else's world crumbles. Sometimes it looks like saying, "I deserve better," and actually believing it. Late that evening, after my guests had left and I sat alone in my garden with a glass of wine, I thought about the woman I'd been a year ago, the one who found a coffee mug and felt her world tilt, the one who'd been so afraid of losing something that was already gone. I wished I could tell her that she was going to be okay, better than okay, that she'd survive the exposure and the divorce and the gossip and the loneliness, that she'd rebuild something stronger from the rubble, but I couldn't tell her. I could only be the proof. My phone buzzed with a text from a new client. A small job, but it was mine. Everything now was mine. My choices, my consequences, my victories, my life. I texted back, accepting the project, then set my phone aside and looked up at the stars beginning to emerge in the darkening sky. The affair was over. The marriage was over. The public spectacle was over. But my life, my real life, the one I was building brick by brick from authentic materials instead of convenient lies, that was just beginning. And if Daniel ever wondered what lesson I'd taught him, I hoped it was this. When you make someone invisible, don't be surprised when they find a way to be seen. And when they do, the light they shine might be bright enough to illuminate all the shadows you tried to hide. I didn't destroy Daniel and Vanessa. I just held up a mirror. What they saw reflected there, the shame, the consequences, the social judgment, that was all their own. The lesson was simple. The truth doesn't care about your convenience. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't hide forever. And when it finally emerges, you either own it or it owns you. I chose to own mine. and that choice made all the difference. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support means everything. And remember, you deserve relationships built on truth, not convenience. Until next time, take care of yourself. See you in the next video.